Hi, I'm feminasty Erin Gibson.
I'm homosexual Split Bangs.
And this is Split Bangs.
Split Bangs.
Split Bangs.
Split Bangs.
And Split Bangs.
Can you handle it?
Why come?
My hair is a disaster.
Most important topic of the day, a du jour.
Absolutely. My hair is absolutely disastrous. I got my hair cut by a new person who was so lovely.
Okay, well then I know what's happening when you say the person was lovely first.
And from Texas, but in a good way. Because I've been in New York.
Wait, did you do it in El Paso?
No, I was in New York. All my crow's nests are at the front. What do you call them? Children's licks. That's it.
Which, by the way, is not spelled the way you think it is.
What?
How do you think it's spelled?
I mean, how I think it's spelled.
Space lick?
Yeah.
Nope. It's like cowlick. Caulick.
Cowl-ick?
I think so.
Is it one word?
Oh, wait. No, this is saying cowlick.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't know. Because some people
it looks nothing like a cowl neck. My cowl look does not look like a cowl neck.
Once again, the fucking internet has lied to me.
Is it the internet? Maybe you lied to yourself.
Maybe I let myself be lied to. And that is really the truth. I allowed myself to be lied to.
All been in that position. But
it's my favorite sexual position, being lied to by the internet.
Honey, it lays me flat. You understand?
Honey,
it lies me flat.
Puts my back out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really it. I mean, all my.
Well, I'm so sorry. I led you down a really strange. But do you know cowlicks are probably
God's
this
joke.
is in my case. It is God's ultimate joke.
Yeah.
God, our daddy in the sky, loves to LOL.
Yes,
you know?
Especially when it comes to hair.
And he loves to be like, you guys, listen, I don't care about you.
No.
I actually don't care. And I like seeing you suffer and struggle in weird ways. And cowlicks are like the very top of my list.
Honestly, if I were God and I needed a laugh, fucking with someone's hair would be my number one way to do it.
And making stairs like a little bit like not the same height. So like one stair is like 6 inches, but the next stair is like 7.25. So you trip all the way up.
Can you imagine if a pool were like that? If you were walking in a pool and all of a sudden it got really deep, but then 2 seconds later got really shallow again. That would be such a mind fuck.
So funny. I would
actually see. God, I've got a new pitch.
The cowlick in my particular case was where I went the grayest first.
Really?
I think it's a source of magic. If you asked me, which you didn't.
No. I feel like mine truly looks like Elizabeth Taylor in the front right now, and I'm trying to figure out how to tame it.
What does that mean exactly? Because she always had curls?
I have those like spider bangs a little bit. When I wake up in the morning, I literally look like, I don't even know. Fucking.
You can do this. You're a writer. I know you can do this. I know you can pull out one descriptor.
A swallow's nest.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I see it in my mind's eye.
Thank you.
I see it in my bird's eye, which is my
favorite vegetable brand.
Favorite vegetable brand.
Absolutely.
Reminder, this show is coming out Thursday.
Yeah.
Friday's the big boycott.
It certainly is.
Don't buy shit.
Don't buy anything from a mom and pop store. Only buy from big corporate brands.
Yes. If you can, and buy from the ones that do the worst things.
Absolutely.
Because they need your money the most.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Boycotting all buying from anything corporate. So we have completely annexed Amazon. Okay.
Target. And I have a list together for the family of where they're allowed to shop. And I said, I don't want to see an Amazon box on this property right here. Okay.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Amazon's a promise I cannot make. It just isn't. I mean, I can make it for Friday, obviously. I probably order something there once or twice a month, but it's hard.
It's not hard. You go on there, you find the product, and then you find who else sells it, and then you fucking buy it from them.
You know what? That's true. But then I have to pay for shipping. But you're right. It's worth it. Yes.
I'm just saying it is.
Do you have a curse word in your mouth right now? Is that what it is?
It's always when I get a curse word.
Fuck off.
God's joke on me is that whenever I have a curse word in my mouth, he turns my mouth to marbles and I can't say it. So it just comes out as gobbledygook.
That's God's lesson. That's God's
God loves lesson
to you.
If this is your first time listening, this is Attitudes, your only podcast that somehow integrates cowlicks and Bible lessons. Along with hardcore lefty politics.
Absolutely. And we do it absolutely seamlessly.
Flawlessly. Now,
what's up with you?
I'm in New Mexico.
Yes.
The place I love, the place I need to be at.
Place you store your clothes and boots. I mean, that's where we're at.
Do you know what I think of every time I put on a boot? When you decimated me on stage one year. Decimated me. And you said, you love a jean and a boot.
Listen, I can't think of a sicker burn. No, I don't. What's wrong with the jean and the boot?
Nothing,
I'm asking
but
myself, the person who had a problem with it, clearly.
But I was wearing too much of it. And I have to say, you really put a fine point on that in front of an audience of hundreds.
You know what, every time I think of? Every time I turn this on, I forget that these are the pillows I have on this thing. And you have asked me once before, like, when are you going to switch out those pillows? And every time we get on this recording and I look at the pillow in the corner of my eye, I'm like, I need to switch out these pillows.
Well, it just makes it feel like you don't actually live there, which is true.
That's a great question, actually. I'm like you, Erin. We can't stay in one city for more than 5 seconds.
I'm going to tell you one thing. That's for sure. I got to get out of LA. I can't.
Dude,
if you talk to 17-year-old me, if you had talked to 17-year-old me, if I was able to sit across from 17-year-old me and was like, you're not going to believe it, but one day you're going to go back to the place you were born and you're going to need to get the hell out because it's going to be too much. And it's not actually too much. You know what I find?
No, it's not enough. Honestly, I mean, like, God bless it here. This city has been through absolute hell and back this year and continues to be. But yeah, it just is. It's a very, and I think that combined with the fact that not very many people are working, it just is, it's a very sad place to be is really what it is.
But I think I was feeling that before the plague though. I have to be honest.
Yeah, no, that part existed before. That part's existed for a while, especially for you. It's been a more recent thing for me.
You know what I find interesting? I had this argument with a friend a couple weeks ago, and I was like, there's nothing to do here. And he was like, yes, there is. And I go, start naming them.
Yeah.
Start naming the events that you've been to in the last month that isn't going out to dinner.
Right.
And he couldn't do it. And I was like, there's stuff going on here. Nobody fucking does it. Like Frieze was in town this weekend, you know?
Oh, you're kidding. The Arnold Schwarzenegger character from Batman?
Yeah.
What was he doing?
He started an art fair about 25 years ago. Did you know that?
You're kidding me. I had no idea.
Mr. Frieze?
Ice sculptures and stuff, or what is it?
All ice sculptures, which is a really bad time of year to do it because, you know, it's a cool 80 degrees there this week.
That's right. It's warm. It is.
Very bad. Yeah, he's just, Mr. Frieze loves art because, you know, he might be cold on the outside, but he's warm on the inside.
Nice. Wait, what? Who's
I wish I didn't have to see his son's butt.
Oh, I'm kind of happy I am. I'll be honest. I mean, I've only seen it once, but it was fun.
I think you're going to see it twice. That's how I know you haven't seen the next episode.
I have not seen episode 2 yet.
I think they just
so maybe after this it'll be enough.
We're talking about
White
Wedding.
We're talking about the White Wedding.
Yeah, the Billy.
Wait,
Billy Idol
so
song.
what? Sorry, I don't know what Frieze is, to be honest. What is that?
Oh, Frieze is an art fair that comes to LA.
Oh, right, of course. Yes. Okay.
But this is what I'm saying. I was like, oh, if I have to go, I'm going home this weekend, but if I was here in LA, I'd go to Frieze. And people were like, your response, what? Huge art fair. Massive. It's like not as big as Art Basel, but it's pretty big. And also there's all these really cool offshoots.
I've bought something from there before.
From Frieze?
I believe so.
You paid $175,000 for it.
No, I didn't. Never mind.
It probably was one of the Renegade fairs.
It must have been an offshoot.
Frieze is like where you go and see how the other half live.
Okay, so I've definitely not bought anything from Frieze, but I have been.
Okay, you've been.
I bought this photo behind me. I bought it at an art fair. This giant photo.
That one behind you?
Yes, but I guess it wasn't Frieze.
And you're sure it wasn't like a book fair?
Well, it's. I know.
School?
I'm pretty sure it's not a book.
Okay,
but you know what? I've never really tried to open it, so.
So how do you know? How do you know?
So maybe it is. Maybe it is.
No, it's probably one of the offshoots. I hope people went. Actually, Gojo, one of our lady attorneys.
Yeah.
Massive art. Honestly, Gojo is doing LA right.
Well, he curates.
One of the
he's
only
like a
people.
genius. Yeah.
You know what we should do? Well, I'll talk to you about it after. You know how I like to make plans and then immediately don't have time for them. I'll talk to you about it later. But I have a scam. I have a scam I want to run
I know you do.
Like for a little art tour.
Anyway, I'm taking myself to see the LA Phil tonight.
What are you seeing?
Well,
what are you and 6 other people seeing tonight?
Okay, so me and 6 other people, and you want to know something funny? So
By the way, I would love to go to the Phil with you.
Well, good, because I was like, I wonder who I can invite, and I just didn't. But I'm seeing that it's a 4-hand concert tonight. I mean, it's the symphony, but then it's 2 pianos, 4 hands, basically, which is going to be exciting. And it's sort of, I think it's supposed to be, some of it's classical and some of it's experimental. But
are they dueling?
I don't know. But Yuja Wang, who's this incredible pianist who dresses like magician assistant, really. I'm also, frankly and truthfully and honestly, I'm meeting my parents when they're going to Vienna this late in May, and she's playing at a concert there. So I'm going to see Yuja Wang, who I've never even heard of, twice. What do you think of that?
Does your mom know about her? Because your mom's a piano dork, right?
She does. She does know about her. And she says she dresses very racy. So what do you think of that?
I think your mom's jealous. I think your mom wants to wear a sequined whatever jumpsuit.
That's pretty much what's happening. That's the kind of stuff she wears. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm excited for that. It's not something I do like to go to the LA Phil, but in the vein of what you said, I am not someone who is consuming culture that much here. It's true. I did see a gorgeous movie.
It's there for the taking.
I saw a gorgeous movie, and it was right on the plane next to 2 people who, one woman had the window up the entire time. The light was streaming on her guests' faces when her guest was the middle seat and then me on the aisle. So anytime she'd go to the bathroom, the guy in the middle seat would shut the window, and then she would come back and immediately slam it up and stare at us. But she went to the bathroom 4 times. By the way, she was in the window seat, so fuck you for everything. And we kept closing, and then she kept opening it. You can't imagine how many times I had to reapply sunscreen, because I thought we're flying way too close to the sun, and my sun's going to crisp my skin.
What was the reason to have the thing? Was she scared?
No. And also she leaned her seat all the way back so that her face wouldn't be in the sun. But the way the window hits, even if I leaned back, it was directly in my face the entire time. I was wearing sunglasses and a hood. And I thought everyone must think I'm, Timothy Chalamet.
Of course, because you looked like you were a celebrity. Yeah.
Correct. Except I didn't have as many, pubes on my face.
And so this was
whatever he's.
I've never seen a man who runs like a Muppet who everyone wants to fuck so bad.
Isn't that wild? He is a great actor, and he's
no doubt
a cute guy, but
no doubt
the sexiness is wild. It's wild.
But that's the young people now. That's like I've never sounded older in my life, but they
you know what though? That sort of always has been. Because when you look at I don't know that he's necessarily a teen idol because his movies are so adult, but if you look at like teen idols, they're very wispy and effeminate. Like,
yes. Well, because it's like non-threatening. And I can't blame anybody.
Totally.
In this world.
So that part I think is like tale as old as time. Mm-hmm. But it is wild. Anyway.
Why were you on it was 5 hours?
Yeah. I was flying from New York to LA, and I watched the most gorgeous movie, and I wept and I wept and I wept. It's called Flow. Like period, blood. Or like
your rap skills?
Well, my aunt's cousin, Helen Flo, who when I was little, I didn't understand her name, so I called her Flo Flo.
That's adorable.
Yeah. It wasn't like that, Flo. It's a Latvian movie. It has no words, so you don't have to read subtitles or anything. It's animated. It's nominated for like best.
Oh, yes. No, someone told me about this, but I don't.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a cool like 80 minutes.
80 minutes, and nobody dies. It's literally the reason it's so heartbreaking is because of just the messages and stuff. But
okay,
I'm in. Stunning. It's stunning.
I have another recommendation if people need something to watch because that's a recent movie, right? That's nominated for an Oscar. You might
still have to. No, I think it's on. Yes, it is nominated for 2 for animated feature and for best international feature. And I think you can stream it, I believe, on Max and maybe even Hulu right now.
Shocked you can stream it on Max. Or do they do anything right?
That's like right.
Okay, so I went to go see at Vidiot's Devil in a Blue Dress, which
the Denzel movie.
Have you seen it?
I hear, you know what? I've never seen it, but I remember my parents went to see it and they were like, they loved it. They were like,
I'm actually shocked that, well, the reason I did a deep dive, because I was like, I watched it and I was like, why is this not a more talked about perfect? It is a perfect noir.
And it's with Flashdance too, right? Isn't she in it?
Yes, Flashdance is
Jennifer
in
Beals.
It.
Yeah.
Everybody is perfect. Don Cheadle basically playing a clown in a way that you can't imagine.
Amazing. I actually cannot imagine that.
It's not a real clown, but you can't believe he's in the movie for as short of a time that he is, because he literally is the funniest. It's the funniest character I've ever seen in a movie. It has drama. It has everything. It is fucking funny. It has social messaging all throughout it. It is so good. It is so fucking good. And the reason that it didn't do better, according to the director.
Right, because I feel like at that time, Denzel, I mean, he's always kind of been on top. He's someone who's never slipped, but he was like really on top of that.
So on top. And the director, who is Carl Franklin, who was an actor turned director, who, by the way, the reason I went to see it is because I was watching another movie at Vidiot's, and they showed this incredible crane shot of Denzel Washington in front of this like 50s car or 40s car, looking like a fucking full meal. Okay.
Sure.
The observatory in the back lit beautifully, Flashdance in the background, talking to someone in a clandestine way.
Oh, it's set in LA. That's fine.
It's LA. They made it in the 90s, but it's supposed to be for like the 40. I think it's post-war.
Okay.
So I can't oversell this movie enough. It's so good. And to see it in the big screen. And actually I saw our buddy Andy, who used to work with at Funny or Die there. So I saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a long time. It was great. But the reason that Carl Franklin thinks the reason that it didn't do well was it premiered the night of OJ's verdict.
Oh, no one was going to.
And no one's going to a movie where not like this.
It's like the Mariah Carey Glitter album came out the same day as 9/11. I mean,
what can you do? This is a time to make it right. So I highly recommend it. If you like noir, if you just like Denzel Washington.
Who doesn't?
Also, Carl Franklin said that Denzel Washington is the most magnanimous. Is that the right word? Just like effervescent, effortless on set with everybody.
That's so nice.
We're all a team. Let's do this together.
I mean, it does make it easier to work when people are just normal.
Wow, that's a Hollywood statement if I've ever heard.
It's so true, though. It's so true.
Just be normal. It's totally confidence. Like Denzel Washington he is a uranium mine of confidence.
One last little tidbit, because you're going to die laughing at this.
Can't wait.
This is like, okay. So I was playing tennis in New York. So I had to take out a second.
Tennis or pickleball?
So what I'm not is a poser. What
you think people who play pickleball are people who are too afraid to play tennis?
If you're not 70, what are you doing? And what are you wearing? And how much are you spending? Pickleball to me is sorority fraternity. Pickleball to me is I want to talk to the people I'm hanging out with. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Tennis to me is I don't need to speak with you. The only thing I need to do is watch this ball and not think about anything else because there's no time to. I don't want to have a cup in my hand when I'm playing.
Well, now I understand why you play tennis, because you probably get to turn your brain off.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's pickleball, it's, you're pitching scripts.
Oh my God.
Talking
Absolutely.
about fun games and stuff.
You're doing down dog after you hit the ball all the time. I see it. So,
and how many people on the court during pickleball? There's like 75 on each side?
Basically, yes. But so I was playing tennis and I don't know what had happened. I didn't know if I didn't have enough to drink, but I felt really dehydrated all of a sudden. And I was like, I thought, that feeling where you're kind of shaking and you feel like you're going to faint.
No.
And so I said, do me a favor.
Yeah.
I said, I saw.
Who'd you say this to?
The person I was playing tennis with, one of my clients. I said, do me a favor. There is a vending machine at the front of this tennis. Okay. They have, which I would never want in a million years. And I don't know if it's because wicked, whatever. I said, they have an original lemon lime Gatorade, which I've always hated. I said, do me a favor. If you don't have cash, go get it. Go to the vending machine. Okay. Put your money in, get the change back. Pick the lemon lime Gatorade. Okay. And when it falls after you pick it into the slot where you put your hand in, grab it. And then when you grab it, walk it back to the tennis court to me, and I'm going to open it and I'm going to drink it. When I tell you.
This is my tennis, listening to this story.
When I tell you I drank the whole thing, I have not had a lemon lime Gatorade probably since I was 5, and I hated it.
I don't think you were wrong when you were 5.
I drank the whole thing and I felt so much better. And all I could think was,
thank you, salt.
Is Gatorade the new Diet Coke? And so the whole thing was so funny. I mean, I haven't laughed about it yet.
But don't real athletes do liquid IV?
I don't know, Erin. First of all, I'm not a real athlete. Okay. I'm someone who
plays
plays tennis for 30
says.
minutes and feels like they're going to pass out. But if I haven't laughed yet about that story, but when I do, it's really gonna erupt.
It just sounds like to me you're going in not hydrated. I mean, people think
that was the problem.
Stretching is the most important thing,
and that it's hydrating. It isn't.
No, people think stretching is hydration, but it's absolutely not.
It simply isn't.
No, and we're 2 doctors here to tell you.
That's right.
The true, as they say in Cloud Atlas.
We've got quite an episode for you today, if you can believe it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, believe it. So, Erin, this week, of course, we're doing this new thing we're doing.
Oh, that's right.
Now, let's see what Sergio has culled. We're very excited about it. He always just crushes it. Oh, Kathy Lee's home tour. Can't wait for that. Sex Over 40 and Susan Powder.
And if you know anything about Sex Over 40... that means you've lived in LA for a little bit and you've seen STDs are timeless billboards.
Oh, God, honestly, an iconic part of our skyline.
So it's 2 people over 70 holding hands
at a beach,
and everyone knows there's
really in an afterglow.
And I'm like, who's this for? There's no one over 70 living in Los Angeles,
No, and no one admitting it.
No. They're all in like on skateboards with like skin pulled so shiny you can't.
Exactly.
You're like, is that a human or a balloon?
Correct.
But I do take a picture of the billboard and I send it to my mother-in-law, who is adamant that she'll never have sex again. She hates men so much. It's really, she's a Kathy cartoon at this point. Right. And I send her that and I go, there's still time for you to rack up the STDs.
I love
There's
it.
no other purpose for that.
STDs are timeless, truly. That really is that's such an ingrained part of the experience here. It's lovely. We also have Vault episode 79, where we learn about Club Applebee's in Central Florida.
That was one of my favorite episodes because we could not believe it.
It was amazing.
Remember?
Of course. And also that we pitched the idea of having not just TGI Fridays, but TGI Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday, which turns into Club Fucktown, which isn't as ringy as Club Applebee's, but Club Fucktown, honestly, who wouldn't want to go?
I would.
And
go
we
there.
also talk about our thieving paths. Our thieving pasts, where one time I stole a Janet Jackson greatest hit CD in college from someone I hooked up with. And Erin's shoplifting techniques at Walmart and Foley's. Foley's, shout out to Foley's. Yeah.
I don't know if this could still get me arrested.
The Walmart shoplifting?
Well, any of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I never heard back from the hookup about where did my design of a decade go. That was the name of Janet Jackson's greatest hits.
Design of a decade.
Yeah.
But joke's on us, it was over 11 years.
Yeah. We're Shoe. We're talking about Joann's fabrics going out of business. Teresa Caputo's new hair. I cannot wait for this. And Erewhon's $19. This says strawberries. It's strawberry. Do you know about this? Erewhon is selling one strawberry for $19.
Because it has chocolate on it or something?
No. It's like some specially grown strawberry, I think from like Kyoto or something. I can't remember.
No.
And just a reminder, you can always buy individual
I love that
episodes.
either strawberry or strawberries is too much to pay $19 for either.
Yeah, no, strawberry. If there were two, I would obviously shell it out. You know what I mean?
$8 a piece.
And by the way, Erewhon really has done it when they're like one strawberry for $19 and everyone is like, it's so ridiculous. But of course, the curious part of you is like, well, I do want to try it.
You know what the curious part of me thinks? Why is every employee not coming to work in a Porsche with those prices?
No kidding. Great point. You can also buy individual episodes of this new thing we're doing and Dateline without subscribing for $3 each. And of course, the first act of our video episodes every week is free on YouTube. You can just find us there by searching Attitudes Pod.
Should we get into some shoes?
Let's do it.
You ready is the new, do you want to get into some shoes?
You ready? You ready? Remember that's from Sexy Back? Anyway, who cares?
Oh, yeah. I do. The spin song of 10 years.
Yes.
Hey, guys, we're going to start climbing.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for JT, Sexy Back.
Completely.
I told you the story about how all the spin instructors I started doing spin again in Vancouver, and I had
That's fun. You know, I wanted to take a class recently. I haven't done it in a million years, and I was like,
here's the problem.
Fun.
It is. If you have someone who likes the same music you like.
Yeah, otherwise it's true hell.
Otherwise it's absolute hell.
Yeah.
But there was one person who played incredible music, but the class was I couldn't always do the class. But then everyone else played, it was fine. It was fine, but some people played very bad music, and some people, I told you they played Nickelback, and everyone started going nuts because they love Canadian artists up there without any, there's no like taste level. It's just like,
sure.
Oh, Canada, you're
the
in.
Canadian, we're in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But there's a thing that I've noticed, and I've noticed this in LA too now, where everyone thinks that they're a guru of life, and
sure.
an IRL influencer,
Sure.
and the things that they say just feel like TikTok has been pasted together. Like they're like, hey, I want everyone to feel their most today. And if you're not feeling your most, how can I give you your best? And it's like, I don't know what you're saying.
What are you
I don't know what you're
about?
saying.
There is, you know what I love also is now how many people say like, so they say this on traders all the time, but they're like, I have this sense where I can usually tell if people are being honest or not.
And they're always
I have
wrong.
like every dead wrong, but they always do it. They're like, I've always had this thing. I sort of am in tune with like this sixth sense about whether or not people are telling the truth. So I'm going to go with my gut. Honey, most people when they do a gut check are not going with their gut. They're going, I don't even know with what, with just a whim.
Just
There's a
also
difference between
like
a whim and your gut.
Sociological fucking biases. If you're going with your gut and you're that wrong, you need a gut cleanse. You need to fix that biome, baby.
Honey, you need to get some cayenne pepper with some maple syrup.
Oregano oil.
Absolutely. You need oregano oil mixed with kombucha, mixed with, I don't even know, coconut oil. I mean, you need to get it all in there. You need to
clean it out.
Do a shot of olive oil before you do anything else.
You need to hydrovac that thing.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know why I brought up spin instructors. Oh, I was going to say, because I just feel like we're getting to the point where people don't have personalities anymore. And I just wish people would just choose. If you choose anything, that would be more interesting than what's happening, I think, across exercise classes. Like if you came in and you were like, I have to talk to you guys about clowns, I would be like, thank God, something different.
Sure, yeah. I miss those days.
I miss
the clown talk before a hit class. Those were the days.
I miss them. You know what else I miss? Mean teachers. That doesn't exist anymore.
No, it really doesn't.
And I'm really mad.
Shout out, if you're an educator, be meaner. Okay?
I mean exercise teachers. When they didn't put up with anything. Me. I think everyone's afraid to get sued.
Oh, I don't know if I missed that. I'm scared of those people. They scare me. And whenever someone comes up and yells at me to, like, come on, 2 more, I immediately just flop to the ground and give up. I'm like,
but what if
that's
came
like reverse
over
psychology for me.
What if you're about to hurt yourself and someone was like, stick your butt out more or something?
Oh,
do you like that?
That's not mean. No,
I just mean it's very hands off and very hands in right now.
I see. So it's both once. Yes, of course.
It's like I don't really care about you, but I really care about me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm on Grindr the entire time while I'm teaching.
Feels like it. Okay, I want to talk about the birth rate, baby. The number one obsession of the GOP.
Sure.
The lower back tat that they all have gotten.
Completely.
Conservatives around the world have united over something that they only care about from a monetary perspective. They got to get that extra tax base, baby.
Yeah, baby.
We got to get that tax base so Elon can go into space and have sex with aliens, because how are we going to get him to Xenar 3 if we don't have more babies?
Do you remember how he couldn't get into that sex club in Berlin, and then they like rejected him at the door because he was wearing like relaxed jeans with Asics, and then he went home that night and bought Twitter. That's how that happened.
Okay,
so that's what we're dealing with. Yeah. Anyway,
I do love that stupid conservatives are so stupid about their own pyramid schemes, because they're like, we'll have more babies and we'll have a bigger tax base. And then we'll rob from that tax base. But then also robots are going to steal your jobs. And then you're not going to have any jobs. And then,
we have a lot of people left.
Where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
There's really quite dumb. Okay, here's how you have a baby. Number one, and I think this is the most important, you got to want it.
Sure, yeah.
Secondly, you need to feel like you have some kind of support, because kids are nearly impossible unless you're one of these parents who has a child who's like already 45 years old. Have you ever seen a baby like this where they're just like sitting quietly and eating and just like curious about everything, and they don't cry, and they like read Barbara Kingsolver at like 6?
Yes. Kind of like the well children. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. All this is getting to a new study by Claudia, I don't know which, Golden, who is a major brain.
I do want to say I've never seen a child read Barbara Kingsolver, but when I do, I will think to myself, maybe you should have them.
Yeah. See, when you hear kids say brilliant stuff and you're like, okay, now I get it. But mostly they're screaming.
Mostly they're screaming and not, reading Unsheltered or the Poisonwood Bible or Prodigal Summer.
No.
All wonderful Barbara Kingsolver books.
Barbara Kingsolver, Queen of the Beach Read.
Absolutely.
So Claudia, she won the 2023 Nobel Prize in Economics, and she loves to think about women in the workforce. So if you don't know, ICYMYUI.
In case you missed it, what's the rest?
Extra. That's where the art comes in. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think?
I can't even.
What do you?
In case you missed it, I don't even know. Under it, I have absolutely no idea. Yes, great.
I love it. It's whatever you want. It's whatever you want.
Urologist inquiry.
ICYUUUYY.
Yeah.
Women contribute $7.6 trillion to the U.S. GDP, which is half of the total GDP. And this number does include paid and unpaid labor. So Claudia says, why has the birth rate with working women declined globally? They're a very big part of should we want to make half the people making half the money? Shouldn't we want to make sure they have everything they need to not only continue to do this, but maybe to have more of them, if you're thinking of it from a purely economic standpoint. And it really comes down to, according to Claudia, and these are my words, not hers, who cleans the toilet?
Okay.
So who folds the socks? And whether or not someone else in the household neatly stacks the measuring cups or just throws them back in the drawers with the devil may care attitude.
Oh my God.
They stack. They're made to stack.
Yeah.
They're made to take up less space.
Together. Yeah. You
can't even let the magnets work.
It's so upsetting.
They're going to do the work for you.
It's so upsetting for your life to be in order and then for you to open a drawer and it to be absolutely screaming at you.
Mayhem.
Yeah.
Mayhem.
It's so upsetting.
Well, according to her study, you can directly link birth rate declines to how much extra household work a working woman does per day. There's a direct correlation. Okay. The more work, like the 3 extra hours, women do at home after work in Italy, Japan, South Korea, the lower the birth rate. And she also says it has to do with how fast the country modernized after World War II.
Right, because it's like, what the fuck else are you going to add to my plate right now?
Exactly.
You son of a gun.
Well, she kind of like, I don't think this is like her being sympathetic, but more like her being like, yeah, we thrust a lot of countries who were a little bit rural into modernization in the 60s. And really, women going into the workforce was a fucking boon for women, a boon for these countries. And yet they still had these ass backwards way of thinking about who does what.
Yeah.
And so you have this extreme modernization in women's lives. And then the society around them going, wait a minute.
Right.
We weren't ready for this.
Yeah.
Now what? This man's going to have to come home and take some barkeeper's secret to the inside of the toilet because he doesn't flush at night?
Right.
And the answer is yes.
That's too much. Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
The clash of ideas happened at such crazy rates that, or such intense, it happened at such an intense way that a lot of these countries haven't been able to keep up. And because they haven't been able to keep up, or not keep up, sorry, that's not the right word. People haven't been able to change their attitudes toward gender roles. Mm-hmm. And that's a fucking shame because everyone wins when everybody shares.
That just seems willful. Like, how could you not look at the person you're with and say, like, we're both working just as hard 9 to 5.
Oh.
So we should both split the work. Like, how could you look at your partner and not feel some responsibility there? Right.
Well, I'll tell you something even worse. So Heather Long, who wrote this article about this, Claudia's research, said, what can we do to reverse the trend? And Claudia's answer is literally the simplest fix that is also the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life. It's not to beg your spouse to relieve you of your toiling, to make him recognize your humanity, your need not to be worked to the bone. The answer is your husband must believe that other husbands are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she says there's plenty of guys who are like, yes, the sheets should be cleaned and I'm just the man to do it. But they don't act on it because they think they don't have to because they're not being held accountable or it's worse. They're going to be made fun of by other husbands, other dudes for doing the housework.
It should go the other way. It should be like, you don't help your wife with housework. That's gross.
That's exactly what I think. But that's not happening. And you know what? I really feel for people in relationships like this. And I don't think it's just, I really don't think it's specific to people living in a binary relationship. I think a lot of people are in frustrating situations where people say they're going to do stuff and they just never fucking do. And my policy remains the same. This has always been my policy. If you're an asshole, just be an asshole. Don't say I'm not an asshole. Just be an asshole. And then you're not wasting anybody's time pretending that you are a person that you're not. And they can just not be burdened by your stupid fucking flaws.
Completely.
Just be an asshole.
Be a goose.
Be a goose instead of a gander.
Yeah.
Yeah. She also said there should be more government onus on parental leave, but she said that's not even the most important part. It's really, if governments want to flip the script on the declining birth rate, they need to subsidize childcare, period, end of story. Sweden, France, Britain, Canada, they all do it. Why can't we?
Yeah.
Well, if you've been listening to this podcast for long enough, you know, we talk about it a lot. We were very close. 50 years ago, Congress passed the Comprehensive Child Development Act, which would have provided a comprehensive system of childcare that not only included, you know, childcare, but specifically with an onus on health, education, and social services, regardless of your background. Do you know what kind of alley-oop that would have given a child born without resources?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it passed, it passed. It had bipartisan support, and Nixon vetoed it because it was a radical idea that he thought would weaken the family structure by giving government the authority to care for children and by pushing women into the labor market. He was like, this is socialism and women of America don't need socialism. What a fucking idiot. Because from that moment on, the birth rate in the US started to fall and has never caught up. Not that I want more people in this fucking world. I really don't. Like, I like 6 people and that's enough for me.
Totally.
But what I don't like is that there's these policies that have been in place by people who don't actually care or aren't actually smart enough to understand what's going on, who want to reverse this trend and doing it forcibly through laws that endanger people's lives instead of a way that would be probably more expensive, but way more effective. And they won't do it.
I know.
And they just won't fucking do it. Jesus,
They're the
take the wheel.
opposite of Nike. The opposite of Nike.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
And by the way, I just want to quickly add, that's my message when I teach my sex health classes.
Don't do it. Oh, it's just abstinence only, but told through the lens of Nike.
I don't use the word abstinence though, because I don't necessarily, that's triggering for me because that's what they used to teach me. So I don't use that. So
yeah.
I just say, don't do it. And I do the Nike swoosh so that kids, you know, really understand. You know,
and then do you put like genitals in terms of like their models? Like, hey, you might want to put your Air Max into her Dunk Low Retro.
Correct.
But what I would say is
while you're reading the Poisonwood Bible. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shout out to Germany, by the way. I was on pins and needles watching that election over the weekend. That was really, really crazy that it almost went the wrong way. So shout out to Germany for ultimately doing the right thing, but really just
really a step barely in the right direction. Actually, a step
barely.
sort of in the wrong direction.
But at least they sort of, I mean, Germany, when they did this, when they built the system post-World War II the way that they did, essentially built it this way so that any fringe far right or possibly far left party could never really gain power because they never wanted that experience again, you know, in post-war Germany, after the Nazi Party, all of this. So it allowed you to, and a lot of countries do this, to build coalitions and block the extreme right parties. The thing is, the extreme right party, which essentially is, we could say, the Nazi Party.
Yes.
That's really they have not even really denied it that much. They really came in second place with 20% of the vote. But because of the way the system is there to block out extremism, the centrist party, the centrist right party was able to build a coalition with the centrist left party to govern. Otherwise, if it had gone like 1, 2, 3, it would be the centrist right party governing with the extreme right party. But thankfully they were blocked. But I mean, 20% of the vote went to that. Which I don't even know why I'm shocked, because essentially 52% of the vote went to it here.
Well, I mean,
we just disguised it better. They don't really disguise it.
No. And all I was saying, Denmark has been able to like have a lot of progressive politics in place, but sadly, the way they've been able to do it is by being really tough on immigration. That's how they've done it, you know?
Well, and that's what's happening here. These people won on that platform. So that's the thing. great the Nazi Party didn't win, but horrible that
they got any votes at all.
Well, they didn't win because of that. It was actually the far-right party that was sort of banning all immigration. But one of the ways the centrist right party got in was by saying, we'll be tougher on it too. And really the reason that they pulled out ahead in the end was also because of Germans saw the U.S., J.D. Vance going over there and trying to influence their elections. And the Germans, at least, were like, no, we don't want to be like you. And then that German chancellor saying, I never thought I'd say it, but Europe can't rely on the United States any longer. That's crazy. That's really crazy.
It is kind of fucked up that we are in a world where the U.S. has that kind of power because...
Yes, maybe in the long run, it's better this way. You know what I mean? It just kind of... I don't know. It just sucks that, like, we've always been in post-war, such a nice relationship with Europe, and that is eroding. So I am, obviously, my visit to Vienna ultimately should be paid because I will be meeting with shop owners there and some of the people who perform, and I will be telling them, trying to peacekeep. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, good. So you're going to do what Trump's is unable to do. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Also, how about whatever? We don't need to go into this. Anyway.
No, but now I want to.
No, just Macron
What a tease.
Really trying to get into Trump's head and be like, you don't want to be in bed with Russia. You're way too strong and handsome and virile for that. You're such a leader. Like, that's beneath you.
What magic.
And they're like, he's like, what would China think? You don't want them to think that because everyone knows how strong you are. Like, it's wild to see them talking.
Did you see it working?
I have no idea if it's going to work. But that's what he was saying. He was like, he's way too strong and handsome and virile for that. So fucked up.
The French are fucking little wizards. They really are. They understand
they're mean as hell,
languages.
But they're smart. That's right. Mm-hmm. They know how to wine and dine and flirt. Tina, you understand? Well, listen,
Tina Turner?
Of course. Get out the scroll. Get out the tablets. Cut the shale.
What's the shale?
I don't know. Isn't that a rock?
Okay.
Double the size of the chalkboard.
Oh, is this a 10 Commandments thing?
Take your rolls of toilet paper and lay them out piece by piece. I'm getting to a point. The agenda's getting longer, honey. Our numbers are growing, honey. The number of Americans now identifying as LGBTQ plus has continued to rise. And in fact, in 2024, that number jumped to 9.3% of U.S. adults.
Every child I know under 20 is bisexual at the very least.
It's so true.
Nobody wants to be straight anymore. And who can fucking blame them? It's boring.
What's the point? Double the numbers. So 9.3% of U.S. adults identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or something other than heterosexual. This is a giant increase, even from 2020, when it was about 4.6%. And in 2012, when Gallup first asked people about sexual identity, that number was 3.5%. So in the past 12 years, we've tripled it, gone from 3.5% to 9.6%, which is wild. The idea that in 2012, only 3.5% of people were calling themselves LGBT or Q. I think this was before marriage had gone into, I'm trying to remember, when did gay marriage become legal? I think it was in 2015. So there you go. So it's amazing. And this is just another example of it's amazing when laws are enacted that promote and give a voice to the people on the fringes. How many people are willing to say, it's not that there are more people born LGBTQ or any of that. It's that people are unafraid and more willing to accept who they are or and are more willing to identify that way, which is a big thing, So it's a very exciting number. And it just gives you such positivity because you think like, okay, if our 10% combined with your 10% combined with your 10%, we should be unstoppable, I
don't want to live in a world where there's mostly straight people.
No, me neither.
I don't want it. It's boring. And also it feels like another thing that you have to constantly be fucking checking yourself on, because if you it just feels, I would imagine it would feel a lot more, everyone would just be a lot more relaxed if they were like, yeah, whatever. Today I'm sucking a dick. Tomorrow I'm licking a puss. Who cares? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I was watching Judy Justice the other day, and a lady.
Why is it Judy? Oh, that's her new thing. So she doesn't have to pay whoever the producers were. So she changed the LLC.
So a lady, some of her stuff burned down in like her family or her cousin's something house. And she was suing for that stuff back. And some of the stuff included was Herbal Essence's shampoo and conditioner.
I gotta love it. I have to love it.
Unbelievable.
Do you get triggered by smells?
Of course. Are you kidding?
Like Suave hairspray?
It's the most
Herbal Essence?
Smells are the most sensory thing. They really take you back to that time and place.
Herbal Essence reminds me of being in junior college. I literally can't. If I smell it, my body starts convulsing.
Aussie hair care.
Oh, can't.
I can't do it.
Can't
Reminds
fucking do
me
it.
of visiting my aunts in Austin and staying with them, which I love, which is a nice memory, but that scent I can't do.
Oof.
Okay, so overall, 85.7% of the people who
Clinique happy?
Never.
CK1?
Estee Lauder's beautiful.
No. No.
Can't do it.
By the way, I want to see this sketch of someone being tortured with perfume smells.
Honestly, yes.
Oh, we'll make you talk.
So 85.7% of the responders said that they were straight. They identify as straight. So that's obviously the clear majority. 5.2% identifies bisexual, 2% gay, 1.4% lesbian, 1.3% trans. And then just under 1% of a different identity like pansexual, asexual, that sort of a thing. This survey found that LGBTQ plus identification is larger the younger you are. That young people are much more likely than older generations to say there's something other than heterosexual. In fact, more than 1 in 5 Gen Z adults, so that's at least 20%, identify as queer.
That's cool.
And each generation, so then is millennials. So that generation is less than Gen Z. Gen X is less than millennials.
Do you know
Boomers
what Gen X
are
is?
less than Gen X. I don't exactly, but it just gets successively lower and lower down to 1.8% of people identify as LGBTQ. The 1.8% is for people born before 1946. So it really just shows you what social stigma can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question for you that you might not have the answer to, and that's okay. We don't need to know everything. Okay. We just need to do most.
You know what? I'll give you one even if I don't know it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. With these studies, when you have a new generation, like this is alpha, right?
Yes, but they weren't surveyed. I think it went from Gen Z because they're adults probably.
Oh, why?
Balloons just came up on air and Zoom.
Okay. So with these studies, okay, let's say that the first, like they did one in the 90s and Gen X identified as like 8% LGBTQ, right?
Sure.
Plus.
Which they wouldn't have, but yes.
But let's say.
Okay, I'll go with it.
3%.
Sure.
Okay. So let's say they were queried in the 90s at 3%. As these generations before them are more comfortable with this, do those numbers then rise? As they age, do people become more comfortable?
I'm going to say yes.
Right? Wouldn't that be like empowering to be like, oh, I feel a little bit like I can identify like
literally
this?
seen. There's safety in numbers. Absolutely. I would also say that it's an interesting thing if you look at it in a very empathic way of, okay, this is also numbers of what the struggle has been. You understand? That if you look at people born before 1946, which I think people are anyway, when it comes to queer people, like there should be 99% compassion shown for those people. 100% compassion, obviously, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And as it goes on, because that just means that those people lived harder and harder lives with different expectations and different punishments, whether literal, legally, which existed, of course, or it still does, or socially. So it's wild, but it's very exciting that at least 20% of Gen Z does identify that way, according to this Gallup poll, which I think surveyed something like 15,000 people.
And I have a question. How do they survey people now if no one has a phone?
I don't know. I think they
do Twitter or the
I don't know. Is anyone in Gen Z on Twitter? I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't even think they're on Instagram. The largest increase, Erin, you nailed it, was among younger people identifying as bisexual. That was the largest increase. And for Gen Z, that translated to 59% of the people who identify as queer in Gen Z call themselves bi. And more than half of queer millennials would call themselves bi. So that those are where the numbers are the largest.
Can I tell you a story about my friend's son who I didn't know was bi? He's 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what made him say this? And my friend was like, he had a crush on a boy.
There you
and
go.
It was just, that's it. It was just, he felt something for another boy. And he was like, oh, I'm bisexual. Cause I also used to like this girl. I had this crush on this girl. And it's so simple. It's like, as if you let people just exist, it can be very simple and beautiful and sweet. And they're just like hanging out at a Valentine's Day dance. I think it's so fucking awesome.
It is. It's really nice. It's really nice. Like, build that coalition, write that agenda. Let's stick to it. Let's scare the shit out of them. On that note, Democrats are more likely to identify as queer over independents, who are more likely to identify as queer over Republicans, which for Republicans, it's only like 3%. And college graduates and non-college graduates are equally likely to identify as queer, which disproves the myth that college makes you gay, or the other myth that not college makes you gay. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do. When you put it that way, I absolutely understand.
Yeah. So this is very exciting news. And even though they're just numbers, there's a lot of confidence in it in terms of let's build these numbers. And I don't mean like recruit. I just mean let's make it safer for people to identify who they are. Let's combine these numbers with other numbers of people who, are living marginalized or just aren't the majority in this country, which still remains straight. And also, like, shout out to all of those 1.6% of the population who are brave enough to identify that way. Unbelievable. So, safety in numbers. And, you would think that you would be safe in a harness, but I believe that part of the the dom sub thing is that if you're in a harness, you sort of almost feel like you're not that safe, but in a very titillating way.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never done that kind of.
Sounds like you have.
No, I haven't. I just know from,
your clients.
One of my private clients, I had to let go of that private client. Yeah. Yeah. His name was Chase. So technically it's funny to say Chase private client.
Oh, that's so funny because they have a whole private client system for people with.
Now I just drink my liquor.
All you have to do is have $200,000 in a checking account, which everyone does.
So easy.
And you can be right in it.
Yeah. So now I just drink my lemon lime Gatorade.
We've got some Patreon reviews, which, by the way, listen, if you want all of it, if you want all of the whole, you go right on patreon.com/attitudes. And we've got some amazing comments from.
And I only just learned how to interact with them. So I've been doing that, which has been very fun.
This is regarding Vault episode 78.
Which was last week.
Bryan dragging Tommy Bahama and now a customer.
What am I wearing today?
Tommy Bahama. Tommy Bahama.
My Tommy Bahama. My TB. I have TB. Isn't that funny when people say that? Actually, it's not. But when I say it, it's funny.
Maxwell Holder has just come up with what I would like to replace for my bonus episode.
This would be fun, actually.
If you two ever wanted to do an Architectural Digest house review bonus ep, I would absolutely listen.
I honestly, let's dig in.
Because you know the people who have those long ass tours are all like they suck.
And also their lies. Like that was so when Dakota Johnson went in her kitchen and was like limes, because there was like limes in a bowl. She was like, I love limes. And then later she was like, I don't love limes. I didn't even know they would be in there. Obviously people were set dressing and I didn't know what to say. So I just said, I love it. She goes, I actually dislike limes. Good for her.
Why? There's no reason.
I know.
The Devil Wore White recap, Brian. This is all you.
Oh, yes, bonnets. Jessica Raven says, okay, but I appreciate Erin Zoom constantly adding whatever it can to the screen at the most random times. A thumbs down emoji and a thought bubble. Perfect. I need more. Allison
okay,
Norris,
I figured it out that it's actually it's something on Google and not Zoom. It's not a Zoom thing. Because when I do Zoom on my desktop, it doesn't do this shit. Just doesn't fuck around like this.
Allison Norris says maybe Sante's bonnet was part of her bicentennial Betsy Ross cosplay. Absolutely agree.
It is absolutely Betsy Ross.
We also got a couple comments from Spotify. Nick Tayer says, thank you for making the most precious podcast the world has ever known. 6 out of 6 cotton candy grapes. How nice. Derek says we need to rebrand the Jack in the Box to Jack in the Chat. Did we say that?
I don't know.
And Madge Dearest says Serena was crip walking, not crip dancing. Listen,
I'm sorry, we're white.
We're old and white. It's
white.
Stupid.
And we truly couldn't sell more how old we are.
Completely. And then we got some Apple Podcasts. You want to run through some of these, Erin?
Yeah, sure. Mima Hour, Lucy Liberal. Please keep Mima Hour as a regular segment. It's the escapism we all need before we get to the shoes. That is, keep up the good fight and shining a spotlight on all the chaos unfolding around us. Brian, in the last week's episode, you said that you sound like a crazy person. To the contrary, you are the sane voices. Thank you.
Erin, you're the insane voice.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's the Susie Orman references for me, says Ellen Cherry. And then where's the Christian content? 5 stars from San Diego. Sign Diego.
Great.
So SIGN? No, that's not right either. Yeah, that is. Okay. I used to come here weekly and even subscribe to the Patreon for the amazing Bible-based content, but now this podcast has derailed. Hopefully Showtime Chamaco can insert their talking heads into some amazing gospel choir videos and get them back into God's life.
Well, you're going to love this episode. We talked about God at the beginning for like 10 minutes.
Listen, our daddy in the sky is there serving up chaos. Okay.
That's right. And
waiting for us to fail so he can laugh.
Serving up looks.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to see God come out of that closet every day with something fabulous.
Oh my God.
Much like RuPaul.
Yeah.
When they enter
a sequin kimono.
All I want is that. You know it's good. High heels, sequin kimono,
one of those visors you wear when you're playing poker. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And just dropping poker chips.
And hair that would make a horse jealous.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yes, honey.
Thank you all. Go on
everybody.
Patreon. We're going to have this new thing we're doing this weekend. Then maybe next time we're going to have a full Architectural Digest read.
Why not? Why not?
Thank you for sharing your laugh.
Thank you for sharing your laugh.